What's going on, golf addicts? It is RBC Heritage Week, which can only mean one thing. The Masters is over.
Yes.
And the Masters hangover is not over. It is better than years past, right, Pat?
I feel better. Yeah, a lot better. I don't have as big as a Masters hangover as I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
I think Easter helps with that.
Yeah.
You got to kind of get it together for Easter. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That helps.
Well, happy Easter to you. Happy Easter to you, listeners. I hope you had a wonderful weekend with your family. Hope you enjoyed the Masters. It was incredible week. John Rahm, your Masters champion. We're going to talk about the Masters a little bit, but we're going to, you can go to any podcast and get a recap, okay? And we're going to do it a little, we're going to recap, but we're going to recap it in our own little way, our own special way, asking ourselves a couple of interesting questions here about some of the things that went down at Augusta. But we're going to obviously break down the RBC Heritage, okay? Talking about outrights, top 26 pack is back at the end of the show. Don't want to miss that. And, a couple names we might avoid, names we're looking to click right now. And the elevated, strongest field, I'm sure, ever at the RBC Heritage at Harbour Town Golf Links, right there on Pat's shirt. Look at the lighthouse there on Pat's shirt. Love it. Gosh dang. And you know why Pat has that shirt? Because Pat can't go to a golf course or a golf tournament, whether he's playing or he's not playing, without going to the pro shop.
And I tell you this, though, DB, I mean, the last person that went to a golf course and a golf tournament and got a shirt was you.
This is
because
true.
you showed up with all the goat material.
Wait a minute. Did you get a shirt at the Masters last week?
Oh, yeah, I did. Dang.
Well, I did too, but did you get it? I got one. Did you get it after me or before me?
You
got
it
after
me.
Day. Huh?
We got it on the same day.
Oh, you got it on. You didn't go shopping when you went back?
No, I did not go shopping when I went back.
So we're even. We both got a shirt on the same day.
Forgot about that. You're right.
But yeah, here we are, Harbour Town. Know a lot about Harbour Town. We've played Harbour Town a couple times. Harbour Town's a great spot. We'll get into it. Obviously, it's going to be a good show. But I will say this, Pat. I'm not drinking any podcast juice tonight.
Oh, good for you.
This is straight up water with liquid IV.
Well, that's good. It's good for you. You traveled today too, so you got to get your body back right. I kind of did a little bit of that yesterday. Not traveling, but getting my body back right. And today I am drinking. Got a little beer here. So
I was in Dallas. I met up with the fam halfway through Masters Week, our spring break. Spent some time in the city of Dallas. Love the city of Dallas. But I tell you what, dude, I don't function well in real dry climates. If you're in the South, if you're in Georgia, Augusta, Savannah area, there's humidity everywhere. There's just the air.
Except for last week.
Well, last week had some humidity.
Well, I mean, yeah.
But like I go to a place like Dallas or the desert, like Arizona or something, which obviously you would expect to be dry. But dude, I was dry. I mean, I've just stayed dehydrated since Thursday morning. So, but yeah, did travel today. That's why there was no first look show. Everything else, if you're a Nut HUD member, everybody was asking where the first look show was today. I'm sorry. If you're a Nut HUD member, everything else is happening as planned this week. So the Wednesday lunchtime live chat with myself is going down. The Wednesday night live chat with me and Pat is going down. Fantastic chat last week with the Nut Hut. On Wednesday night, had a ton of people in there, had some great questions. Chalk Bomb Ben joined us. Chalk Bomb Joe Idoni popped in there for a second. So it was a fantastic week, Masters Week, and we really do appreciate everybody for sticking around. Also, speaking of the Nut Hut, the family sweat bet hit finally at the Masters.
Yes.
Presented to you by our friends at Leaderboard, who's also presenting to you this golf betting podcast for the RBC Heritage. The family sweat bet finally paid off. They had a Scheffler or Rahm to win at 5-1. Somebody's going to get $500 sent to them from our friends at Leaderboard. If you've not already downloaded the app, listen, spring is in the air. Even for you people who live up north and it's freaking freezing, you're starting to play golf again. And so you need to understand your own game. You need to keep track of your own game, your stats, not just your score, but your stats. And you're probably playing money games with your friends. And on the Leaderboard app, you can choose from a handful of money games. You put in your friends' names, handicaps, whatever. Whether they're in the Leaderboard app or not, it's okay. You can add them even without. But you put in their handicaps, Leaderboard dots the scorecard for you. All you do is put in the scores. They keep track of who's winning what, who's popping on what hole. And then at the end of the round, It's beautiful. They go, hey, you owe so-and-so money, or you get money from so-and-so. Congratulations. Then they'll link you out to Venmo. You put in your score and finalize your score, and it's all connected to the USGA Gen app. So you don't have to go to a separate place to report your handicap. The leaderboard app is free to download on iOS only right now. Okay. But big supporters of the podcast, and we thank you for supporting the Nut Hut. I'll tell you what, if you're in the Nut Hut, you might win something real, like almost every day. Last week, we gave away a ton of stuff. Masters Week, we're giving away some more stuff coming up. Leaderboards giving away cash. It's a beautiful thing. In addition to all the great content, all the access, the community that you get in the Nut Hut, you're also getting stuff from our partners. Our partners invest in the Nut Hut. When we have conversations with our partners about linking up with TJ, the Discord is something that we bring to their attention. We discuss ways that we can partner to better serve our Discord family. So thank you to all those who are supporting us in the Discord. No family sweat bet this week, and the winner of the Masters family sweat bet will be announced in the Discord by our friends at Leaderboard who are in there. So props to them. What else? I mean, what other props should we give? Pat, you nailed Sahith as the top debutante at
Yes.
plus 500 or 550?
Plus 550 in the FGS. Debutante, the rookie, the top rookie. And he came on strong on Sunday.
Yeah.
Hell
of a
matter of fact,
Sunday.
I think I even mentioned he could be a first-round leader. And obviously that didn't happen. It happened at the tail end where he shot one of the better rounds of the tournament on Sunday to finish as the top rookie. He's going to get himself into the next Masters. And so, yeah, if you're paying attention and bet that prop, because I did a few bonus props in the FGS, and he was one of them. So,
yeah, the FGS was back last week. Yeah, that was nicely done. Neither one of us had much of a sweat on the betting cards because I couldn't have had John Rahm on mine officially, and you didn't have him on yours. But we talked about Rahm being such a value last week at plus 950 compared to Scotty and the other guy who was up there. I can't remember. Maybe we'll talk. I'll jog my memory here in just a second. But
sure, you forgot that.
Did have a heck of a Sunday though in the prop game. So I don't know if you saw, Pat, but actually the whole week I think I delivered three. I think I delivered 3x prop cards between Underdog and Prize Picks on the week. I got a nice one in there yesterday. I think I threw 3 plays out there for round 4 between Underdog and Prize Picks, and all 3 hit. All 3 cashed. So it was a solid day for a solid Sunday for the props game in DB's Bomb Shelter, and just a good week altogether for the props for me. So that was exciting. Obviously, John Rahm, we could talk about him, but we won't because everybody else is talking about him. And you get it. He's a stud, right?
He is.
Said it last week. Like him and Scheffler are right here. It's just they're going to be trading blows. These guys, the 2 guys have won half the tournaments of 2023. John Rahm, with one bad round basically at API and the Green Apple 2-step at TPC or whatever, the poopy thing, whatever he had to poop.
The Green Apple 2-step.
Was that the Players? That was the Players, wasn't it?
That was the Players.
Yeah. I mean, everybody was so scared to death. I mean, give me a break. Like John Rahm he's the best player in the world. Guess who else is the best player in the world? Scotty Scheffler. I can't pick one. I don't know how you pick one right now. I think they're both
hard.
incredible. Let's start off our favorite segment to kick it off again, presented to you by our friends at Leaderboard. Link in the description of the podcast or the video to download the Leaderboard app on iOS only for free. It is down the board. So as we peruse down the leaderboard, Pat, at some names, it could be right there at the top. It could be somewhere in the middle. It could be a name way down there that you'd like to talk about or you have a take on. Who would you like to talk about first, Pat?
Well, I mean, for me, I think we gotta bring in some live talk, DB. And,
yes.
I have to. I mean, we could talk about Phil because everybody had to have been shocked at what Phil did. I mean, look, he has been absolutely horrible on the live tour, not just like recently, but literally within I don't know if he's had a good finish since he joined live. I really don't.
No, he's not had many.
He's been absolutely terrible. And then he gets to Augusta National where he has a fantastic history, and we know that. And he proves once again, by the way, that course history is a thing. And because he's 53 years old.
52, I think. Yeah.
52, 53. Finishes second, highest ever since Jimmy Demerit or something. Just like he broke the record for the oldest guy to ever finish in the top 5. I think it was pretty amazing what he did. I think that
Yeah.
tails in a little bit to Brooks Koepka. And look, I've been kind of, you know, I've been critical of BK, but I felt like he really showed out well in this golf tournament, not only from a golf standpoint, but from everything standpoint. Like he wasn't showy with all the live stuff. He was just Brooks Koepka. He
Yep.
was Brooks Koepka, major winner, great golfer. And I ended up seeing a lot of him while I was out there. I don't know why. Maybe me and Brooks are just meant to be together. I don't know.
I don't
But
think so.
every daggum hole that I was going to watch, for some reason, he ended up there. And he's talking with he wasn't like elusive or anything. He's like talking with the other players that he's playing with that were not live guys. It was like he looked relaxed. He looked like he was enjoying himself. I mean, he didn't look like he was like just a walking asshole, which sometimes I feel like he can kind of be. And so I was impressed with it. I really was. He cared. He cared a lot. The live guys up there cared. I mean, you got to admit it. Patrick Reed cared. Phil Mickelson cared. And I've been critical.
Joaquin Niemann, like a bunch of guys,
Yeah.
bunch of them. We've been banging that drum for weeks now, months probably,
Yeah.
talking about how, when there's a lot of golf outlets out there, and I don't know how many of them. I don't think this is much in the DFS betting space, but I heard a lot of them over the last couple of weeks and months not saying what we've been saying. What we've been saying is, you're crazy if you think some of these guys aren't good anymore. You're crazy if
Yeah.
you think some of these guys aren't going to come here with a chip on their shoulder. You're crazy if you think that they're playing for millions of dollars, however many weeks a year on the Live Tour, and they're not sharp or they're not trying. Like, that's stupid. That is a terrible take. I saw it for myself with my own eyes in October when I walked 2 practice rounds with guys. Like, you're just living under a rock, or you're drinking the Kool-Aid if you think these guys aren't there to play and to win and to compete. Now, I do think there is a certain level of money where somewhat like a little bit of apathy begins to creep in with some guys. But I think those are the exceptions, not the rule.
Yeah, I would agree there. But I think more of it too was just the overall vibe there. You did not really get a whole like there was a lot
No.
of like adversity between the PGA Tour guys versus the Live guys. Like they were just all there playing golf, best golfers in the world playing golf. You did not see a lot of the drama, which is what you're going to get at Augusta National. But I think we got a taste of that also at the Open Championship last year. And so I think that like from now on, like the media has got to calm down a little bit about this whole divide between the two. Like I'm starting to get a little more like, you know what? Maybe these two tours can kind of coexist. Like maybe something can happen, like where you're just like, hey, he wants to go play on the Live Tour. Fine, whatever. He likes the team thing. He wants to take some money and do that kind of stuff. I'm going to do my thing on the PGA Tour. We're going to get together at the majors and we're going to have, we're going to still be friends. It makes me start to think a little bit more that I do think some of the Live guys are getting a little bit of a raw deal from a ranking standpoint. Like I do not want to
100%.
see them not in the Masters. I just don't. Now there's some that I don't care about. Like I don't care if I ever see Ian Poulter or Lee Westwood again in the Masters. I really don't.
Yeah.
But the top players in the world, I do. So I think there's something to be said for that. But that's the Live talk, I guess. I'm sure you've got other.
Good comment here from Nancy. We have an idea of which Live golfers have a little dog left in them. I think that's for sure.
Yeah, we do.
Taylor says it was refreshing having Brooks out there. Loved having a villain in the mix. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And I was going to ask you, you kind of started to answer my question and I didn't say I was going to ask you this, but I was going to say, as someone who really hasn't enjoyed Live at all, I feel like with Phil, especially with Phil, but even like having Reed and who people don't like, but having Brooks and Reed and Neiman and some of these other guys up there and having names on the leaderboard, do you think it started to? Do you think it starts to? I'm trying to think of how to describe like exactly what it's done for you. Like it starts to let people kind of put their guard down and go, okay, this dude's a human being. Like we don't always agree 100% eye to eye on things, but we love what this guy's done for the game, or we love watching him play for whatever reason. He may be a butthole, right? And a lot of them are like Brooks, you said he wasn't a walking asshole out there, and he probably wasn't. But on the inside, I can promise you, he's still an asshole.
Yeah. Well,
But I definitely could. You could almost feel just the general public through the TV getting more and more okay with these guys again. Like, and I think the more they play, the way these next 3 majors play out this year, the more it's just going to start to happen, and the less there's going to be this divide, and the less people are going to tolerate reading articles and listening to shows that all they do is bash these guys over and over again, and the Live Tour over and over again. Now, I don't know how many of those people will translate to eyeballs watching a live event now. It may still not work. Like, they may still not go to the CW or the app and watch in Singapore. I probably won't, right? I probably won't. But I just think it starts to soften everyone a little bit. And it was very interesting to kind of see it, and I'll almost feel it from just watching. Totally different the way the Masters and the way CBS presented the whole thing versus what we saw at the PGA Tour when they acted like 2022 Cam Smith winning the Players never happened at the Players a month ago. Like, didn't show the past, like, skip the years where the past champions on the screen graphic were now on Live. Like, you didn't see that. And so, and I think that juxtaposition to how it was handled it's been handled on the PGA Tour kind of made people feel like, I don't know if sorry for the Live guys is the right word, but it kind of made you go, man, this is how it should just be handled. Like, we should not have ignored that Cam Smith won the 2022 Players. We shouldn't.
Yeah.
We shouldn't do that. Like, that's petty. It's dumb. We shouldn't do that. But I don't know if that means you let him come back over and play. It'll be very interesting to see. Like, I bet for Brooks, that whole experience probably shook him, and there's rumors already that he wants to come back. It will be very interesting to see how this whole thing shakes out, but it's just going to make the majors incredible. And I wish I could have capitalized more on it in my DFS lineups, because I had some Live guys. I had the wrong ones. DJ was one of them. Mito, another one. So anyway, it was good to see. All right, well, that's down the board, presented to you by our friends at Leaderboard. We gotta move on. I do have to ask one thing, Pat, because normalize is the word. Thank you, Nancy. If you go way to the bottom of the board, near the bottom, you find
several people.
You find Rory McIlroy, Patrick.
Yeah, Rory.
And, you and I had some debates on the show, but we had a heated debate towards the end of the Wednesday night live
show. I don't believe we got as much debate as we did in the.
But I mean, it was like 11 o'clock at night on Wednesday night, and I was banging the Rom drum. You were banging the Rory drum. We got into a battle on who had the mental fortitude to get it done at Augusta. And I think Rom showed us what's up. I think Rory continues to buckle under immense pressure at Augusta specifically. I think it's more so at Augusta. I think he's and granted, like, I will say, to Rory's credit, he has carried a lot for the PGA Tour. He's carried a lot for the game of golf. He's been a global ambassador that we've probably not seen since Gary Player over the last 10 years, and especially the last year and a half. And I'm sure that is a lot on him. But between all the money that son of a gun has made over his career, and just the pressure every single time he tees it up for a major to get it done again, because we haven't seen him do it since 2014, but even more so, it's ratcheted up at Augusta to close out the career Grand Slam, to get the one major that everybody wants more than every other one. He just can't seem to get over it. And so my question that I posed to you was, Pat, if Rory were a cereal, what kind of cereal would he be? And I gave this some thought in my foggy brain today as I was jet lagged and coming home and all this.
I answered this too, but I already figured you already had the answer before you.
Well, no, I want to hear your answer. Your answer might be more interesting than mine. I think it's this. I think, and YouTube viewers, please hit the like button, subscribe to the YouTube video if you haven't already, and drop a comment. Tell me what cereal you think Rory would be. I think he's Cinnamon Life.
Okay? Cinnamon Life?
Cinnamon Life, yeah.
My God.
It's healthy. It somewhat relatively healthy.
Yeah.
It's more flavorful than average because it's cinnamon. It's better than the regular Life version. Strong brand awareness. If I say Life, you can probably picture the multicolored letters, and you've heard of Life for a long time. It's a base cereal in any grocery store. So strong brand awareness. Everybody knows him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Problem is, there's one fatal flaw, and he gets soggy real quick. Okay, it's too quick at times, and he can't handle too much milk or not ideal conditions, or if it's not perfect conditions, if you can't pour the Life, get the milk in there, already have your coffee done and ready to go and ready to start putting it down, then it's not optimal. It's not an optimal cereal. There can't be any sort of, kink in the plan. If you leave the cereal sitting out, it becomes disgusting and it starts falling apart, literally falling apart in your bowl. Rory is Cinnamon Life. What do you say?
I don't know how much brand awareness Cinnamon Life has, but
there's plenty of brand.
I got a few responses to that. First off, I feel like if we're looking at the vacuum of Rory now, like everything you say makes sense and is true. Like it does. I mean, but let's put some perspective to it. When Rory was 25 years old, DB, he had won four majors at 25. He's 33 years old now.
Mm-hmm.
Jon Rahm has won two majors. He's 28. Okay, so if we want to compare apples to apples, and we wouldn't have thought 9 years ago when Rory won his last one in 2014 that it would go 9 more years. Also, you mentioned like perfect conditions. If I remember correctly, when Rory won at Kiowa, they were not perfect conditions, and he almost lapped the field enough where they couldn't even get close to him. So Rory at his peak is a fantastic golfer. I don't think we could you could disagree with that. I just don't think you could. Now, today, I do agree that, I think the Masters is his bugaboo. It is.
Yeah.
It's the one he has to get, which I think a lot of us could say when we really put so much pressure on us to do the one thing we haven't done, it makes that thing even that much more difficult, which I think is what's happening with Rory. I mean, so I do think this, if we're writing notes for the future on the Masters, you don't bet Rory, you don't play him in DFS, and then you just hope that and I think we kind of alluded to that during the show.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what we said. We were like, you know what? I would rather play Rahm. I feel like my heart wants to play Rory, but the money wants to be on Rahm. Matter of fact, I know I got asked that a few times last week just by friends who know what we do. And I texted the same thing to them.
Yeah.
But so I think you're right. Now the now Rory may be a little bit like Cinnamon Life. For me though, I have him like Raisin Bran. Okay. And
somebody else in the chat just said that.
Yeah, he's Raisin Bran to me. And you know why? Because damn it.
Not enough raisins?
There's not enough damn raisins. They didn't put 2 scoops in the damn thing. Okay. Like I get my Raisin Brans and I'm like, you know what? Okay. I'm opening the box. I'm opening my box of Rory. Okay. And I expect my 2 scoops of Raisin Bran that are going to get me over the edge and help me win the day. Okay. But you know what? They didn't put 2 scoops in there. They didn't put 2 scoops. And I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know if I'm getting 2 scoops or I'm not getting 2 scoops with Rory. I have no clue. And it says on the box I'm getting 2 scoops, but I don't think I am. I'm not.
Yeah. It makes you want to think you're getting something you're not. Benny says because he makes me drop a deuce.
Anyway, so yeah, I was going to do Raisin Bran, and it's because I don't think I'm always getting my 2 scoops out of them.
Rory Bran. That's good. Yeah. When I was a kid, I used to eat some Raisin Bran, but my dad would always buy a big jug of raisins, and so I'd pour the Raisin Bran, and then I'd be like, nah, add the raisins. That's what you have to do. You have to take care of it yourself. Mm-hmm. All right, that's the Masters recap. That's how we recap the Masters. It was a weak analogy for sure. Stay odd, definitely. I mean, we're doing our best, okay? But we're just trying to give you a Masters recap that's just not every other Masters recap, okay? It's weird, it's memorable, it's Tour Junkies. That's what we do. What kind of cereal is Rory to you? Put that in the comments. Okay, let's get to it. Top of the betting board, talking RBC Heritage, Harbour Town Golf Links. Pete Dye, par 71, about 7,100 yards, 3 par 5s on the course. This is, we know it, right? We know Harbour Town. They've been playing here for freaking 30, 40, 50 years. I don't even know. It's been a long time. we've played the course. We played it from the tips. Remember, I had the bet with Kevin Kisner a couple years ago on what I would shoot from the tips over under when I was on vacation back then.
That's
But like,
right.
it's a lot about clubbing down off the tee. It's a lot of less than drivers off the tee for a lot of players. It's a positional course. It's a creative course. It's working the ball both ways. It's hitting your mid irons, especially, but even some long irons to an extent, pretty well. Knowing which side of the fairway to be on or miss. It's not very penal rough. You just got to be on the right side of it. Tiny little peckish Bermuda greens with some bunkers and some tough spots to get in if you miss, and you will miss because they're small. So short game is key, and then putting on Bermuda. So we know what it is. We've had a variety of winners here before. Short numbers, Jordan Spieth. Long numbers, Stuart Sink, Satoshi Kodaira, CT Pan. It's just been a cornucopia of winners here in the past. But here we are the week after the Masters with an elevated event status, which I don't know is the greatest idea now that we're here and thinking about it. But we're here. And, I think there's some guys in this field who tend to play well weeks after a major. Some guys in this field who have been showing up at Harbour Town for years, despite playing the Masters the week before. There's some guys who haven't shown up here in a long time or ever because they probably don't want to play the week after a major. Rory's one. He just skipped his second elevated event of the year because he skipped Kapalua. So, I do think there's something in here that we'll flesh it out as the week continues, but there could be something to which one of these guys that played the Masters do we think, how many of these guys are beat up? It was a tough 4 days. It was a grind, the weather, the delays, the wind, the freaking trees falling on people, the whole thing. So I do think that's somewhat of a narrative to look at. But, as much as I'd love to say we're going to have a long shot here, and we have before, obviously with the elevated status and the strength in field, probably not likely. But I do think of a lot of the designated events, I think this could be one where we could get a long shot because it really doesn't fit just one style of golfer. What else would you add to kind of what we know about Harbour Town?
No, I would agree with that. I think you're right. I think that obviously with the field the way it is, I mean, we've got 40 of the top 50 ranked golfers in the world here. So it is going to be better field than we've seen in a long time here. I think the best recently was maybe a few years. I think it was when Webb won. You had maybe 35 of the top 50. So
The 2020 COVID restart.
Yeah.
So that was in June. It was
it was a lot different. It was a lot different, and all those guys were ready to play. I mean, they wanted to play golf, and so it was just a little bit different field, and kind of the way it was set up and everything. But so I do think there's more potential, obviously, for shorter odds to win. But I think you're right because the way this golf course is so damn quirky, and it does take some experience in how to play it the correct way. That you could see some guys that I think this could be the one where we do get a longer shot guy in a elevated event, which we haven't really have. Have we had any yet? What's the longest shot? Kitayama?
Yeah, for sure, Kitayama.
I mean, it had to have been Kitayama,
which was long. That was big.
Yeah, that was big. But I forgot about him almost. Actually, he came to mind as I was talking about it.
Yeah.
But still, like you said, these greens are small. It's you have to hit in the right spots off the fairways. I mean, we've talked about this all the time. I mean, the first hole you can hit a perfect drive to the left center of the fairway.
You're screwed left center.
So
you're screwed left center.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about it. Top of the board up to 25-1. Who do we like? Who do we not like? And who do we like?
Well, I'll tell you who I don't like right off the bat, and that's Jordan Spieth, the defending champion.
Really? I did not see that coming out of you. Why not?
Well, I don't know if you saw his press conference after the round on Sunday, and which was a great round.
Yeah.
I mean, it was one of the best of the day. Only Phil Mickelson, who he was playing with, beat him. And it was incredible. His whole round, it was amazing to watch Jordan. I mean, it was just like a perfect Jordan Spieth round, the way he did it on Sunday. But he mentioned afterwards, he was like, now that I'm looking back, I think that, by the way, he had 21 birdies. 21 freaking birdies. I mean, You cut out a few of those mistakes that he made, and he wins that golf tournament probably not easily, but he's right
Yeah.
there at the
Yeah.
end. But he said he played what he thought was a little bit too much golf leading up to that tournament. I think he said he'd played 8 of 10 weeks. And I think that's telling for a guy. So now he's coming back. Like, he doesn't get that whole, like, where's the break now? And he's going to play, which I get it. He's a defending champion and it's an elevated event. He has to play. But, if he's already said he's tired and he already played too much, then I believe him. And I feel like that means I don't really feel like wanting to play him. That to me is a fade. And, I'm not, I'm sure he's going to try and he wants to win and whatever else, but he's tired. He wants a
Yeah.
break. So that's why I'm fading him.
If I'm counting this up right, let me see. I think he's had since Pebble Beach. So he played Pebble, Waste Management, Genesis, took a week off at the Honda, played Arnold Palmer, then consecutively the Players, then right after that Valspar, then took the no, he played match play. Then he played match play.
Play match play.
So he's only had 2 weeks off since Pebble Beach.
Yeah.
He had Honda and he had Valero. Right?
Yeah, Valero he took off. And so he's played well.
Yeah.
I mean,
He has played
T4
well.
at the API, T19 at the Players, should have won the Valspar, T4 last week at the Masters.
And the you got Harbour Town, man. That's family. I mean, we vacation there every single summer. I'm going back this summer. Like, that's family town. That's like the best. If you got little kids, George's got his little baby boy running around now. Like, he might just totally get into vacation mode out there and just kick it. But I mean, he's also not one that I think is a defending champion is just going to mail it in. So I think he's going to try. I think he's going to give it all he's got, but he just may not have much left in the tank. Who knows? So I can kind of understand the fade. It's also a little bit attractive at 20-1 on DraftKings at the moment. I kind of had him written down as a maybe. Obviously, for me, I don't think you can play. I don't find it intriguing to play Scotty at all with no record here at Harbour Town whatsoever. So obviously, at least, he's played the Masters. He's played the Masters, 4 times now? He's played 4 Masters. He's never once decided to come to Harbour Town and play Harbour Town. He also chose not to play Harbour Town the week in 2020 when, everybody was itching to get out and play golf. He chose not to play Harbour Town then. And so, just as the shortest name on the board, I don't think he's worth a shot there, personally. So the only other guy that I kind of like, I really had Spieth in here with a question mark, a maybe. Morikawa to me, and I'm not usually a Morikawa guy. Most people listening would know that, but Morikawa at 18-1 on DK. I bet that number. I bet that number drops if it hasn't already. If you're listening to this, he's 18-1 on FanDuel, DK, and MGM right now. But obviously, another top 10 at Augusta. He came close here. I think the year Stewart Cink won. Did Stewart Cink run him down that year? I think that was the right.
Did he run him?
I think he did. But the irons are dialed. It was interesting to see. I think his approach play at Augusta. Let me look at more, or not approach play around the green play. Yeah, he was positive strokes gained around the green at Augusta. He was positive in every strokes gained category at Augusta, but specifically to see him positive around the green was very interesting to me.
Amazing.
So I think Morikawa at 18-1 is the only one up top I'm really all that interested in. We could talk about Rahm. I mean, it's still John Rahm. Like, he just might go out there and keep bludgeoning everybody to death. But typically, the textbook would be a guy that short of a number. The very next week after winning his first Masters and all that went into that, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. All right. That's the top of the board presented by our friends at Pickett. I'm wearing the new hat. I got the new shirt. I just got the merch in. But look, it's NBA playoff time, people. If you don't have the Pickett app, then what are you even doing? In the Pickett app, you can see who the popular picks are. Where's the money line? Where's the handle going? Where's the bet percentage? Who's wagering on these things? You follow your favorite handicappers. You follow us. You follow whoever it is that you follow. If they're any sort of handicapper worth their weight and worth a grain of salt, they're on the Pickett app, and you can tail their picks and their bets and see where they're putting their money. You can see what side is being most wagered. You can look at most popular props in NBA. You can look at bad beats if you want. You can obviously track your own betting data, which we highly encourage everyone to do, whether you're a small-time sports bettor or you're just playing like prop stuff, DFS stuff on Prize Picks or Underdog or Sleeper or whatever. You can sync all of that in Pickett. It's a free app. iOS and Android users can do it. And you can line shop. You can see all these details. Download the Pickett app, link in the description of the podcast and video. It's free to download. In fact, they pay you to download it if you put in referral code TJ. They will send you either $3 free cash or $100. One person a day wins $100 on the Pickett app. But it's a free app. Everything in it is free. We're on there. Follow us, tail us, see how we're doing. Tail your own bets. You have to sync one of those books, sports book, or a site like Prize Picks or Underdog or whatever. So, check that out. Link in the description. Thank you to everyone who's downloaded Pickett. Some Pickett giveaways coming, and I'm telling you, you're going to want to already be set up and ready to go. So get in there. All right. Mid-range, kind of up to that 75-1 spot. This is obviously where we'll probably be doing most of the cooking because I feel like this is the sweet spot for us if we are trying to find some sort of a long shot bet in here. And the first one that just seems glaringly obvious to me would probably be Sung J M. It feels like Sung Jae has got to win again here pretty soon. To me, it just feels like that. I know he's not. I know we've not necessarily seen him, final group contention, but he's just been knocking on the door all of 2023, a lot towards the back end of last year. And the last time we saw him actually close the door was in 2021 at the Shriners. I think that's the last time. But I just feel like it's coming. He's obviously got a pretty good record here at Harbour Town Golf Links. So Sung Jae to me at 28-1 right now on DK was kind of the first look. What do you think about Xander at 26-1 on FanDuel?
Yeah, I actually have both those guys. I have Xander at 26-1, and then I have Sung Jae at 28-1. Those are two of my favorites down here. By the way, I didn't even get to mention the guy I did like in the shorter than this. I know we're trying to move along because we talked a lot about the recap. I was with you on Cal. I actually do have Hovland, though, at 22-1. So Hovland was one that I had. But
you think Hovland will be recovered enough from the Patrick Cantlay experiment?
I feel like he is, and plus, his outfits were kind of questionable last week, and so I feel like he's going to wear something that really is going to clash amazingly well with the tartan jacket. So, I feel like that's a good sign. Like he's really getting himself into that, that clothing, issue there that you could have with the jackets. But anyway, Victor Hovland 22-1, but Xander and Sung J M were two guys I had in this range that I really liked. And then I think it's, I like Sam Burns, Stevie, 35-1.
I don't trust the iron play still.
Yeah, I get it.
He's still not hitting his irons great. For the he gained a little bit at the Masters. The irons looked much better at the Masters, which I was surprised by. But it was in the first two rounds he did his damage, and then on the weekend he started losing it. I just don't trust his irons, and I'm not at the Heritage. I need your irons to be dialed. Because you're going to be hitting a lot more of them off the tee. I mean, I know the putting is what really draws you to it.
He's number one in this field in putting on Brady, which doesn't surprise us at all. But I feel like there's a little bit of good value though with Sam Burns at 35-1. Typically a pretty good scrambler as well. I think you're right. His irons have certainly they leave a lot to be desired, but he has a good iron week. He can win this golf tournament.
He can win any golf tournament if he has a good iron week.
Well, yeah, but I think this is a good one. He's finished top 10 here before. So I do like Burns.
Well, we're going to name some names in here because this is a loaded range. I know I banged the drum so hard all week last week for Tony Finau, and he just kind of flatlined to like a T26. But I'm still somewhat intrigued, despite the flat line. He still gained strokes, major strokes on approach around the green. He just didn't putt great at Augusta, and he didn't gain as many strokes off the tee as he normally does. But the dude still has some of the best mid and long irons on tour, and that's still a little intriguing to me at 29-1. I just feel like Finau, I can't quit him right now. I'm having a hard time quitting him. So I don't know. Where tell me, are you with me on Finau, people in the comments? I see somebody talking about Tom Kim at 45-1 on DK. I had him written down. It was interesting to see Tom Kim finally hit it good again at Augusta, and impressive that the dude did it especially the first 2 days with the pairing he had. I mean, wasn't he playing with he was playing with some studs, and the dude balled out both. Round one, gain strokes off the tee, gain strokes on approach. Round two, off the tee and on approach, he was clutch. So I think Tom Kim at 45-1 is interesting. I don't love no experience around here, but I think that kid has shown. Wyndham. He's just shown that he doesn't necessarily have to have it when he's on. So 45-1, no family at Harbour Town, not doing the family thing. I kind of like getting back on the Tom Kim train while we have him at a decent number, because if he throws up another solid week, the very next tournament we see him in, he's going to be shortened again, and we're all going to wish we had him at 45-1. What do you do with Kuchar at 50-1? Because obviously the history is incredible. They're going to name the tournament after him one day. The history is incredible. The form is really freaking good, but it's 50-1. Matt Kuchar in an elevated event with all these names around him. 50-1.
I don't feel like you bet him outright. I think if you could get a decent number as a top 10, then, and I'm not looking at that yet, that may be what you do, but I just feel like elevated event with all the guys that can creep up there and beat them that wouldn't necessarily be there on this week. I think that you don't play it. Maybe DFS. I could see playing him on DFS.
He'll be chalky as hell in DFS.
Which makes me, I don't know if I want to play a chalky Matt Kuchar, but a top 10 on him, but I don't think you bet him outright. I was more concerned what we do with JT. Do we just keep?
No, we're not betting Justin.
Do we just not bet?
I'll bet JT Poston. Are you talking about?
I love JT Poston. I have him written down 75-1. I bet that right now. Justin Thomas, though, the other JT, I feel like he's just a trap again. When do you bet JT? I don't know when do you decide that this is really the best week to bet JT? Because you probably wouldn't have done it before the PGA Championship last year when he won. What's the telltale sign?
I don't know. He did kill me in DFS last week, because I did end up on a little bit of him in DFS, but I didn't bet him. I don't know what's going on right now. We talk about this. Golfers have ebbs and flows, man. The game can be really brutally cyclical for an extended period of time, not just 1 week or 2 down weeks. Guys can kind of lose it for a second. Jordan Spieth, Ricky Fowler, it kind of happens. So I don't know. I'm not playing him this week, though. I'll tell you that. I'm not betting him. I'm betting JT Poston is 75-1 on MGM. That's what I'll do that.
I agree with that. But I don't think I'm betting Justin Thomas, and I'm betting Ricky Fowler at 60-1. Just going to keep doing it. I don't care.
That the best number for him? What's the number?
60-1. That's what I saw as the best number. Now, maybe.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't hate it. But I don't know if I'm going to do it. But I don't hate it.
I don't know if I should do it. I'm just going to keep doing it.
You're just going to do it. Okay. Yeah. I love a lot of names in this range. We're not going to talk about all of them, but it is a range chock full of goodness. So, all right. Well, let's keep moving. Before we move on, I do have to let everybody know, new partner alert. Our friends at SoBet have come on board with the Tour Junkies, and they're in it for the long haul, people. And it's a beautiful thing. SoBet, okay? Let me tell you what SoBet is. Let me throw that back up there. SoBet is bringing you the best in the game. The SoBet sports influencers are vetted to ensure you're getting access to quality and unmatched content. Basically, what this is these people had the brilliant idea of creating a platform where they vet sports betting handicappers to know what they're doing, and they invite them to come on the platform and push out content. Not just anybody can sign up and do it. Not like, they can on Twitter or whatever. It's not like that. These guys and girls are vetted sports handicappers for all the sports you want to bet on. And they're all found on SoBet. The best next-gen sports content creators are bringing you sports content at scale on SoBet. You can access daily exclusive content in easy, digestible formats. Unlock a goldmine of betting information with SoBet's low monthly subscription. Get access to content for nearly every game and become a better sports bettor. SoBet is your all-in-one source for expert sports advice, analysis, and entertainment with over 28 sports experts and 400 pieces of content being posted weekly. And their simple feed delivers personalized sports content straight to your device, all for just $9.95 a month. That's all it is. Plus, it's home to the exclusive Tour Junkies finish position round robin every week. By the way, profitable this week in the first one for the Masters, hit 3 out of 5 legs. We were a Tommy Fleetwood, one shot away from Tommy Fleetwood giving us 4 out of 5. Get to SoBet.io through the link in the description of this video or podcast. Make sure you use promo code TJ and elevate your game with SoBet. Got to use the promo code TJ. Link is in the description below. There's going to be a lot more from SoBet. You're going to see it. More to come, including other exclusive content that me and Pat are a part of. It's a good platform, I'm telling you. If you're betting on any sport or all the sports, you got to have it. All right, let's move on. Long range, up to 130 to 1. Who do we like? I like Chris Kirk. I found 80 to 1 on DraftKings for Chris Kirk. Why not? I mean, why wouldn't you just keep playing Chris Kirk? He's continued to be just tremendous. I think he over-delivered at Augusta, despite decent expectations. So now to get him at Harbour Town, a course that obviously fits him much, much, much better. 7th place finish back in 2021. But I mean, he's just a different dude right now. He's crushing it since the win at the Honda. 10th at Valero, 23rd last week. I think Chris Kirk checks all the boxes, so I like him. I think Tom Hoge. I think we bounce on Tom Hoge at 100 to 1 on BetMGM. Hoge loves a golf course where it's everybody hit it to the same spot, and then iron competition in. He loves that. Those are the courses he likes. That's what he's told us. Probably would love to have seen better course history here at Harbour Town, but he's had a couple of decent finishes. But I just feel like Hoagie's he's just not the same player as he was in 2020 or 2019 or 2018 or any of that before. He just feels like he's at a different level. So Hoge 100 to 1, I'm interested in. Seamus Power at 110 to 1.
Whoa.
I know I'm normally not on Seamus.
You're not. That was
a
little surprising.
But I mean, 6th place finish here back in 2019, hasn't been back since, but the irons are still good. The around the green play is still good. I just think Seamus is a guy who, in a field like this, I could see closing the door at a long price. So those are a few of my favorites. I'll see if you mention any of the other ones.
Are you are we done with Minwoo Lee? Is the Minwoo Lee?
Oh, we are definitely not done with Minwoo Lee.
But Minwoo Lee era over now that he didn't perform well for everybody that wanted to play him at the Masters?
Listen, that was a major disappointment because the Masters, although then again, like if you say it out loud, like the Masters is a second shot golf course. Of course, the long ball off the tee is a massive weapon. Being able to roll the rock on the putting green, definitely a good weapon to have, which Minwoo has both of those. But what he doesn't have is good iron play. He said it himself in his Masters press conference on, I think it was Monday. He said it himself. He said the iron play has been lacking. He's got to improve the iron play, and he didn't. I mean, it wasn't good last week. I mean, now if he has an average to slightly bumped up iron week, that dude could win anywhere. He could win here. He could win anywhere. He could win Torrey Pine, literally anywhere, because the driver is such a weapon, and the putter is so good. But I don't like him with bad iron play, and you take the driver out of his hand at Harbour Town.
Yeah, I tend to agree, but you know what? I can't believe I'm about.
He's really sexy right now, Pat. Like everyone is he is like the new hot chick in school.
And he really is.
Everybody wants to be on him.
He's got that Aussie accent.
He's got that dirty little stash. It's like not really very full. It's like it's like a prepubescent stash, and everybody wants a piece of him. Everybody wants their card to have his name on it. because it looks good, and you want to be on the next big thing.
I looked at it. I don't think I want him on the betting card.
I don't either, but I understand the temptation.
But you know who I want on the betting card?
Who?
Damn it. Wyndham Clark.
Me too.
I want Wyndham Clark all over my betting card.
He's one I had written down, 100 to 1.
100 to 1.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at it, the ball striking, the approach, great putter, all the things you need here, he can do.
And he's got a decent track record on short courses. I think you got to look at that for some of these guys.
Yeah.
But to see his irons have come up another level. This is the thing about betting some of these guys is like you look back at the history and it's not great, but they're not the same player right now. Like Wyndham Clark has figured out his irons. Speaking of a guy like Minwoo Lee, I mean, in the last few years we've been handicapping Wyndham Clark. What has he been good at? Hitting the long ball and putting. Yeah. He's never been good at iron play. But he's balling right now with the irons.
He really is. And he does have a good history here. Now, It's not like he's contended to win, but you look at the last 4 times he's played here, he's made the cut every single time. So it's not like this is a course where he hasn't been able to figure out how to get himself around on. So I think you get a guy like Wyndham Clark with the way he's hitting it now versus the way he used to hit it. I think it makes a lot of sense there at 100 to 1. So he was the last one I had. I did have Tom Hoagie as well, so I was with you on that
one. All right. I think that's probably good for that range. All right, let's move right along. Bombs over 130 to 1. I got a couple, honestly. I think the Todd father, Brendan Todd on MGM was earlier today. I don't know if he's still there because I just think this number is probably going to get hit. I don't know that it'll move a lot, but I think 200 to 1 is a very long number for Brendan Todd, considering, he's a multiple PGA Tour winner. This is a perfect course setup for him. I don't know. I think 200 to 1 is too long for Todd. It should probably be like 125, 130. Ben Martin, it's hard to see Ben Martin winning with these names, but you can't deny how well he's played. So it's just a little tough for me to get off of that. Matt Wallace, 150 to 1 Matt Wallace at MGM. Keep it going. How we doing? The irons continue to be hot. And then I'm going to go Nick Taylor at 160 to 1 on, I think that's FanDuel. Taylor's kind of all of a sudden, like, to me, just seems like he's got a little extra dog in him. I mean, he's just doing his thing. Runner. I mean, the guy almost won the Waste Management. He almost won the Waste Management. He's had high finishes. He's been on the PGA Tour veteran, multiple time winner now, AT&T, Pebble Beach, Sanderson Farms winner. He's been around the block. He's not going to be super intimidated by these guys, but he's just been hitting it well. Short game is solid. I think Nick Taylor, 160 to 1 FanDuel.
Don't mind it. I have Matt Wallace too written down 150 to 1. I think Justin Suh at 180 to 1 is somebody you need to look at. I mean, you look at just his last few tournaments, he had that top 10 at the Players. I can't see the Honda, but I think he was up there at the Honda, wasn't he? Right there with Chris Kirk and them.
Yep.
So he's got good recent results. He has not played this golf tournament, so that's the one downside to him. But if you look at the stats, I mean, pretty much across the board, I mean, they look pretty good for him. Checks the box in approach and ball striking. At least from the top 50 in the field there. He's for the most part a pretty good putter. So I think Justin Suh is another one at 180 to 1 that I think you should look at. Another one, now this is a little bit of a gut play for me, but Sepp Straka at 130 to 1, I think he kind of popped for me a little bit as well. So that's probably it for me, over 130 to 1.
I think this is good to talk about. Ryan Nell posts this in the chat. My buddy's a caddy at Harbour Town. He said this is the first year he's seen rough. Sent me a picture. Second cut is like 3 to 4 inches. Fairways are going to be a huge factor this week. Ryan, thank you for doing your part, being a valued member of Tour Junkies and sharing that on YouTube. Let me say this, because I saw this going around, I think today on Twitter, I saw somebody mention this. Stay tuned, because I know from past experience, we know a couple of superintendents at golf courses where the PGA Tour hosts events. And I do know this, that the course will have it set up one way, but by Wednesday night, the PGA Tour will bring out the mowers and do what they're going to do. normally the rough here is not super gnarly, not super long, not super thick, not super penal. So if the rough is up today, that's one thing. Even if it's up Tuesday, that's another thing. But I mean, I was at the Byron Nelson last year, standing with the superintendent at Craig Ranch on like they had a private event that I got to go to. Emmett Smith was there. Pat Green was singing. And we were standing in this, you remember that, Pat? I think I FaceTimed you or something.
Yeah.
We were standing in this like hospitality thing in the middle of the golf course, and it was like dusk, and all the fans were gone, and all the mowers came out, and they were mowing down the rough. That's what they were doing. So just stay tuned on that. We'll obviously have some intel from a bunch of people on site on how the golf course is set up and how it's playing. And if we do feel like it's any different, we will let you know. Also, before we move on to our top 26 pack, I'm seeing this in the chat. We are going to have to postpone the St. Simon or the St. Simon's Island King and Prince Resort golf trip. We try to jam it in, and it is not going to work. So stay tuned for new dates in the fall. For those of you that have already signed up, we will make sure to get your money back to you here pretty soon, so you can save that until hopefully the fall. We'll get another event. We'll give everybody a good heads up, and everybody will have plenty of time to plan and do their thing. So we regretfully have to do that, but like I said, we tried to jam it in, see what happened, but it is what it is. All right, top 26 pack, 2 locks, 1 bomb at 4-1 or longer to finish top 20 at RBC Heritage. Me and Pat, here we go. Pat, I'll let you start.
All right. Well, I'll start us off here. I've got Shane Lowry at plus 150. I like him. I think this is a really good course fit for him. So I've got him at plus 150 to finish in the top 20. And then Corey Connors. I'm going back to Corey Connors.
Wait a minute. This is a lock, Pat. How are we going to do a lock when the man sucked so bad last week? A lock?
I don't care. He locked plus 225, top 20. I love it. The dude is, look, he had a bad week, but he's still a great ball striker. We know that about Corey Connors. Plus 225. I'm good. I'm good with that. So.
Oh, God, that kills me. Let's see what he did. Round 1, I ate the chalk on Connors. He was one of the chalky ones I ate. And he freaking.
Yeah, I mean, you need to remember, you got to have, like, look at his last 3 times playing here, DB. T21, T4, T12.
Yeah.
Remember, this is a top 20 bet. This isn't to win.
I know. Yeah.
So this is a good course for him.
I do like the Shane Lowry play. I actually had him written down as an outright too, but we just didn't get to him. Okay. Oh, all right. I'll save your bomb. Here's a guy we didn't talk about, but I don't know that I like him to win. Cam Young is plus 120 to finish top 20, and I feel like that is a lock. Paul Tesori on the bag, obviously. That's been talked about a bunch.
Yeah, been there with Webb.
Been there with Webb multiple times around this place. And Cam Young finished 3rd here last year without Paul Tesori, which is really freaking good. Obviously, he's one of the best long iron, mid iron players in the game right now. I don't necessarily love the course fit so much that I want to hit him as at the outright number that he is, which is a little shorter than I would like. But a top 20 lock plus 120 plus money, I'll take it. And then it's got to be Kuchar at plus 190. As for me is the bet. That I think that's the Kuchar play. I think you mentioned it maybe a top 10, but I think the Kuchar play is a top 20. And I mean, I think that's kind of a bet the farm. Like put a lot on that, because I could see it happening. He's rested. He's not coming off a Masters week. He's playing well. He's hungry. He wants to get back involved in major championship golf, I'm sure, and qualify for these tournaments that he's always qualified for. And he's at his place. Like, this place is built. This is his 20th year, from what I can tell, Pat, competing at this event. He only missed the cut the first year. And like tons of top 20s and top 10s since then. All right. And my bomb, if I'm going to give you one bomb, I'm tempted to go. I'm debating between two maybe a. All right. I'm going to say Ben Griffin. We didn't talk about Ben Griffin, but I'm going to say Ben Griffin at 5-1. I think very similar course to RSM, where he plays out of Sea Island. He's going to be very familiar with Harbour Town, even though he's never played here. I guarantee you he's played here a bunch. North Carolina kid. He's just been so solid lately. Finally sat his ass down and took a week off because he didn't qualify for the Masters. Dude's been playing a ton of golf. I like him coming off the rested, no family distractions. Just come out here and ball out and do your thing. Great course for him.
Okay. I think if I'm probably going to go with a guy that you may have been thinking alongside of Ben Griffin, but that's Joel Damon at plus 400. I think you go with Joel Damon here to finish in the top 20. You look at his course history here; it is very good. Has 3 finishes here inside the top 25 over the last 5 years, and now all of a sudden I freaking lost him.
I do wish his form was a little better. I was looking at Joel. The form's been a little weak.
Where did I oh, there he is. Yeah. T12 last year, and then a T16 in 2019, T48 in 2020. So, 2 of the last 3 years he's played here, he does have a top 20 finish. I like Joel, man. Plus 400. I think that's a pretty good value bet on him to finish in the top 20.
There you have it. That is the betting show for the RBC Heritage 2023. Check out the DFS show. We're going to have some more fun doing a different level of Masters recap. We're going to talk about #golf. And we're going to have an injury hypothetical situation where we're going to hypothetically cause bodily harm to ourselves in exchange for something related to Augusta National. So that'll be fun on the DFS show. Next week, I should have said this up front because now we're going to get people asking us about this. Next week is the Zurich. We have to take the week off. The Masters was a marathon. We are behind on a lot of things that we got to work on the business and not in the business for just 1 week, kind of an intermission before we get into like peak off season here. We got some stuff to do. We're going to be adding some new content that we're excited about when we come back from that break at the Zurich. Going to be adding a ton of new free tourjunkies.com blog content that I'm very excited about. A variety of pieces from a variety of good writers. I'm really excited about that. We got to get those folks onboarded and ready to go because the next event after the Zurich is the Mexico Vedanta Vallarta Open. Where the defending champ John Rahm will be playing again. So next week, no TJ content. We'll just be in the nut hut, kicking around, whatever, and just goofing off. But we're going to be doing other stuff that we got to do. So thank you for your grace in that week. Okay. Enjoy the Zurich, the team event.
Yes.
Have a great week. Bend over your bookies. See you. Out.